Guys, what is good? We are back, Marv back for another episode of Marvin's Room. As you can see, I'm outside in my element. I want to jump in here and talk to you guys today about self-love because this was a viewer question, and he wanted me to make a video discussing self-love and how to do it and the importance of it and attracting an SP back. And I want everyone to understand that self-love is so important because people, we put our worth, we put our self-worth, etc., into other people. So when our SP leaves us, we have no identity because we put our entire identity a lot of times into that relationship or into that marriage or into that partnership, whatever the case may be. So when our SP leaves, it's like, holy shit, who are we? I don't know who I am outside of this relationship. I don't have no identity, and you identify with pretty much whatever you've been through, whatever your history is. And that's why people keep attracting the same thing in their lives and keep going through the same experiences because it's their identity. And so when you don't have self-love, this is why when people leave you, it hurts so much. This is why I believe when people pass away and croak and die is because we don't know ourselves. We don't love ourselves. And we were putting all of our love and existence into hearing from that other person, hearing from our SP, hearing from our mother, hearing from our father. So when our fathers or our mothers pass away or our best friends pass away or something happens to our SP or our SP decides they don't want to be with us no more, what happens is we feel like we've lost our identity. We've lost ourselves because we put so much of ourselves into that person instead of putting it into ourselves, instead of falling in love with ourselves. Because what happens is a lot of times is people grow up and they have abandonment issues and they have codependency issues. And the reason that is because a lot of times we grow up in this, especially in this country. I don't know about, the rest of the world, but I think particularly in this country I can speak about is people grow up without their parents being in their lives the way that they should be. We grow up without, our fathers in our lives the way they should be, or our mothers are not in our lives the way we should be. And we never get to see our fathers really love our mothers the way that it should happen. We never get to see the way our mothers should love our fathers the right way. And so what we see is what we develop, and that turns into what we think and know love to be. Even if it's wrong, it's right for us in our mind frame because of what we seen growing up. And it's extremely dangerous because, like I said in one of my other videos, when children are born up until the time of 12, basically, your subconscious mind is basically in work. That's your mind is taking in everything subconsciously from a subconscious point of view. And that's where your beliefs are stored. That's where you begin to believe what love is and what love isn't, et cetera, et cetera. And you gravitate towards whatever that is because of those child development years from the age of you were born all the way up to 12 years old. And that's why so many people grow up feeling not worthy. They feel second or third best. They feel not good enough. They don't feel secure because they didn't grow up in a household with their mother and father there like they should have been, or their mother and father were there and they were extremely critical of them. So they grow up that way, feeling second best, feeling third best, not feeling worthy. All of this stuff, a lot of this stuff, man, it really goes back to childhood and not being loved the proper way and not being told that you're loved the proper way. And that's why self-love is so imperative, because it's basically the bridge that's going to gap you between whatever you want, your desires, and yourself. We have to stop putting our love or trying to find love outside of ourselves. We put our love in so much stuff. We put our love in our businesses. And then when our businesses fail, people turn suicidal, because they put so much effort and energy into, like, that was their love. That was their form of love. Or same thing, like I said, with relationships. You put your love into that relationship. You put your love into that marriage. You put your love into your mom or your dad or whatever. And then when that stuff gets taken away from us, whether forcefully or, by accident or whatever the case may be, we don't know how to handle it because we were never taught how to really love ourselves. And self-love to me is the biggest magnet to attract whatever it is that you want in your life. It's the biggest magnet because whatever you're seeking, it's already inside of you. If you're seeking love, if you're seeking abundance, it's already inside of you. You don't need to look outside of yourself. And I think that's what that verse means in the Bible that popular verse that says something like "Seek ye first the kingdom, and all these other things shall be added unto you," is basically you whatever you want, you have to feel the feeling first, and then it's going to be added unto you. You know what I mean? So if you want love, you have to feel love. You have to vibrate at that frequency, at that level of love. You have to feel those feelings, and then love is going to be added unto you. But what most people do is we do it backwards, especially in the Western world. We say, show me my perfect partner first, and then I'm going to feel love. Give me my girlfriend or boyfriend back, then I'm going to feel needed and loved and whole. And the universe is like, no, 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 no. Wait a second, that's not how I work. You got to show me, you got to make the first move. You got to show me the faith. And the faith is to self-love. The faith is getting in that feeling. That's the faith. So when you learn how to put yourself first and self-love, and you can radiate those feelings, then everything you want is going to show up in your experience. Now, how do you do self-love? Self-love, basically, you have to practice like anything else. You have to practice. It's like a muscle. You got to affirm to yourself that I am loved. I am needed. I am extremely wanted. I am first best. I am secure. Because a lot of times people don't feel this way because of, like I said, how they grew up in their childhood. And if you find yourself repeating affirmations and not believing it, most likely you got to probably go back to your childhood, and you probably have to do some cleaning. And that'll probably be another video that I make about how to, the exact steps to manifest a specific person and going back and dealing with that. But a lot of times I realize when people say affirmations and they don't believe them, it's because there's a blockage. And that blockage is theirs because they have to go back to a time in their past, wherever that may be or whenever that may be, and they have to heal it. You know what I'm saying? They have to heal it. So in order to do self-love, you have to really affirm and feel and say these things repetitively over and over again, particularly in the morning, I believe, and at night before you go to sleep, because the subconscious mind is fertile and you're more relaxed. And when anytime a person is relaxed, they will begin to allow their affirmations to sink into their subconscious mind easier and quicker, so that you can change your beliefs a hell of a lot faster. Because I find most people, they try to force their affirmations. They try to say, I am loved, I am loved, I am this, I am that, I am this, I am that. And they don't really believe it because they're not in a relaxed state. They're not relaxed about it. They're tense about it. They feel like it's forceful. And the thing you got to do about self-love is you don't want to turn self-love into a job, because you got to know that you already are whole. You got to start to know and believe like I am whole. And don't get upset at yourself if you don't stick to the routine like you should, like you're supposed to. But you got to get to a point to where if you continue to persist, it's going to harden into a fact. And that's why even in lies, if you persist in a lie is going to eventually harden into fact, which I have kind of had a thought like, okay, so then lies are really real then, because, lies are really truth, because if you persist in a lie, it's a matter of time before it hardens into fact. So with self-love, understand you may not feel it in the beginning when you say it, but understand that it will harden into fact. So you got to keep saying your self-love affirmations. I am loved, I am wealthy, I am healthy, because eventually in time, it's going to stick. It doesn't matter if you have to say it 1,000 times a day, or if you have to say it 50 times a day or 100 times a day. Everybody's different, but this step cannot be skipped. Self-love is one of those steps that should never, ever, ever be skipped in law of attraction. Now, with that said, you also want to do things that make you feel loved. You know what I'm saying? You want to go to do things you enjoy. Go to the movies, go for a walk, be out in nature, hang around good friends, great company, stay away from the negativity. You got to really do things that you enjoy to put yourself in that loving state, because how can you really give love to another person when you've never really loved yourself? You have to love yourself first before you can love anyone the right way. And I want you guys to understand that love and happiness is a choice. You have to choose it. Don't assign love, don't assign happiness to anyone else. That's an inside job. You got to assign that to yourself, because once you know and master this, you're not going to put your faith, you're not going to put your self-worth, etc., into another human being, whether it's a family member, whether it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a marriage. You're going to take that power back, because you know that you are loved. You know that you are wealthy. And this is why self-love in relationships is so important. And even when you get your SP back, and even when you get your new relationship back, it's so important to never, ever, ever stop doing self-love. Because what happens is people get what they want and then they fall off the bandwagon. They stop doing self-love. They stop doing their affirmations. They stop, taking themselves to get facials and, manicures and pedicures and massages. Like, all of this stuff falls under self-love. Don't stop doing this stuff just because you get what you want. Because, like I said, when this happens, people get what they want and they go right back into the same old negative habits. And then their SP leaves them again. You know what I'm saying? And like I said before, self-love is the reason. It's the biggest magnet to attract whatever you want, and especially a specific person. When you feel loved and you know you're loved without outside reassurance, because that's why so many people are looking for outside reassurance, is because they feel like they never had it. Like I said earlier, they feel like they never had it. They grew up without it, and so they need that reassurance. And self-love gives you that reassurance from yourself to know that I am good enough. I don't need this person to tell me that I'm good enough. I don't need my ex to tell me that I'm good enough. I don't need my mother or father to tell me that I'm good enough. I don't need this person to be there. Why? Because I show up every day for myself. This is the definition of self-love. This is what the missing piece is to so many people, and that's why it's important to do this. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's a self-love meditation, whether it's Ho'oponopono, forgiving yourself and falling in love with yourself, because falling in love with yourself is one of the best feelings ever, when you can know who you are, you can know what you love. I mean, you ask people what their favorite food is. You ask people where their favorite place to go is. A lot of people can't answer these questions because they don't know themselves. You know what I'm saying? But yet you are so quick to know this information about your SP. Oh, my SP's favorite restaurant is this. Oh, my such and such, they love to go here. You know that about them, but you don't even know that about yourself. Now, how does that sound? That's not cool. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's important. Like I said, you got to fall in love with yourself. You got to know yourself, because the more secure you become in yourself, you realize, I don't need anything from anybody. I don't need anybody to give me love, because I am love. And I know that I radiate that. And you get on happy with the rest of your life, basically. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to come on here real quick and talk to you guys about why self-love is so important and how to do it. Because it's a relatively easy concept, but I think people overthink it, and they try to turn it into rocket science. E=mc², but it's none of that. You just got to say your affirmations, say your self-love affirmations, fall deeply in love with yourself, radiate love to other people, stop trying to get from other people, and know that you are already whole. You are enough already, with or without a person. You are whole. You don't need anything. All right, guys? It's been another episode of Marv's Room. I'll see you guys next time. You know where, you know when. We out.